How to stay calm in chaos. Chaos has always been a part of human existence, from the fall of empires to the collapse of personal dreams, from the turbulence of war to the quiet storm of personal anxieties. Mankind has been forced to live amidst uncertainty. Yet, through all the waves of history, there has been a philosophy that stood like an anchor in the storm: Stoicism. Born in the markets of Athens over 2,000 years ago and carried forward by Roman emperors, teachers, and slaves alike. Stoicism is less a distant philosophy and more a practical guide to living. It teaches us to remain calm in chaos, to face turmoil with composure, and to transform suffering into wisdom. Not merely an abstract idea, it is a way of life, a mindset that has helped people endure the worst of times with dignity. To understand how Stoicism works, one must look at both its principles and the lives of those who embodied it, and in doing so, we uncover a path that still speaks to us today, in an age of noise, distraction, and constant change. It begins in Athens around 300 BCE, when Zeno of Citium, a merchant shipwrecked on the shores of Greece, found himself wandering aimlessly into a bookstore. There, he read about Socrates, and in that moment, his life changed. Having lost his wealth to the sea, Zeno sought not material fortune, but inner stability. He began to study philosophy, and eventually taught on a painted porch, the Stoa Poikile, from which the word Stoicism would take its name. The essence of Zeno's teaching was deceptively simple. There are things in life we can control and things we cannot. Peace of mind comes from focusing only on what is within our power, our judgments, actions, and choices, and accepting with equanimity all that lies outside of it. This idea would become the cornerstone of Stoicism, resonating across centuries. Perhaps one of the most remarkable examples of Stoicism's transformative power was Epictetus, a man born into slavery in the Roman Empire. His early life was marked by hardship and cruelty, yet he discovered that though his body could be enslaved, his mind could not. He famously said, "You may fetter my leg, but not even Zeus himself has the power to control my will." Epictetus taught that external circumstances are never truly ours, they are gifts of fate, fleeting and uncontrollable. What is ours, and ours alone, is our ability to choose how we respond. His lectures, preserved by his student Arion, continue to inspire millions with the reminder that freedom lies not in circumstances, but in mindset. When we face chaos, whether the loss of a job, betrayal in a relationship, or the collapse of long-held plans, we can remember Epictetus. The event itself may not be within our control, but how we interpret it, how we react, and how we rebuild afterward is always our choice. If Epictetus represented Stoicism in slavery, Marcus Aurelius represented Stoicism in power. As Roman emperor, Marcus commanded vast armies, presided over a sprawling empire, and endured endless political intrigue. Yet, amidst the glory, his reign was haunted by turmoil, barbarian invasions, natural disasters, and the Antonine Plague, which killed millions across the empire. Despite being burdened with such unimaginable weight, Marcus found solace in writing to himself. His private notes, later known as meditations, were never meant to be published, yet they remain one of the greatest works of practical philosophy. In them, he reminded himself daily to rise above anger, fear, and despair, to act with justice, humility, and patience. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength, he wrote. For Marcus, chaos was not an excuse to surrender to despair, but an opportunity to practice virtue. His words remind us that even in leadership, when the world seems to collapse, inner calm is possible. At the heart of Stoicism are a few timeless principles. Control what you can, accept what you cannot. Life is divided into what depends on us and what does not. Our thoughts, actions, and values are ours. Fortune, death, illness, and others' behavior are not. Virtue is the highest good. To the Stoics, wealth, status, and pleasure were indifferent compared to living with wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. True success is moral character, not external gain. Perception shapes reality. Events themselves are neutral. It is our judgments that make them good or bad. Change your perspective, and suffering transforms into strength. Memento mori, remember you must die. Far from morbid, the Stoics embrace the contemplation of mortality as a way to live fully and meaningfully in the present. Amor fati, love of fate. Do not merely accept what happens, but embrace it as necessary, as part of the whole. Even hardship can be a gift if approached with wisdom. These ideas, practiced with consistency, allow one to remain calm in the midst of chaos. To see Stoicism in action, one must look at lives lived with courage. Seneca, the Roman statesman and Stoic philosopher, served under Emperor Nero, a ruler infamous for cruelty. Caught between service to Rome and the madness of Nero's reign, Seneca walked a delicate line. He counseled moderation, warned against tyranny, and yet endured suspicion and political danger. When accused of conspiracy, he was forced to take his own life. Seneca met death calmly. As he had often written, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." In modern times, countless individuals have rediscovered Stoicism as a lifeline. Prisoners of war, survivors of natural disasters, and even everyday people facing loss have turned to these ancient principles for strength. The chaos may differ, but the human response remains the same: calm endurance through wisdom. Today, chaos surrounds us in different forms: global crises, social upheaval, personal stress, and the relentless noise of digital life. But Stoicism remains as relevant as ever. Imagine waking up to an inbox full of angry emails, a sudden economic downturn, or the end of a relationship. The instinct is to panic, to spiral into anxiety. Yet the Stoic asks, what part of this is in my control? You cannot control the market crash, but you can control how you adapt. You cannot control what someone says to you, but you can control your response. In every situation, the Stoic mindset shifts focus from the storm outside to the calm within. Many modern leaders, athletes, and thinkers cite Stoicism as their compass. From Navy SEALs using Stoic exercises to endure training to entrepreneurs weathering failure, Stoicism has become a toolset for resilience. To live the Stoic way, practice matters. The philosophers recommended daily habits that strengthen composure. The morning routine. Before the day begins, visualize potential obstacles, criticism, delays, misfortune, and prepare to meet them with patience. The E-view. Reflect on your actions. Did you live with virtue today? What can be improved tomorrow? Negative visualization. Imagine losing what you love, not to despair, but to cherish it more deeply. Gratitude grows from recognizing fragility. Voluntary discomfort. Occasionally endure discomfort, cold showers, fasting, simplicity, so that when hardship comes, you are not unprepared. Pause or reaction. When anger rises, count, breathe, and ask, is this within my control? Does my reaction serve virtue? These practices train the mind like a muscle, building strength to remain calm when chaos strikes. The reason Stoicism endures is because life itself does not change. Empires may rise and fall. Technology may transform the world, but the human condition remains the same: fragile, uncertain, vulnerable to fortune. Stoicism offers a shield not against events themselves, but against the suffering we add through fear, rage, and despair. In chaos, the Stoic does not collapse. He does not seek to control the uncontrollable. He does not beg the world to bend to his will. Instead, he bends himself, adapting, enduring, and choosing virtue in every moment. Chaos is inevitable. Pain is certain. But suffering, as the Stoics teach us, is optional. We can meet chaos not with panic, but with poise. Not with rage, but with reason. Not with despair, but with dignity. The Stoic mindset does not promise an easy life, but it does promise a meaningful one. It teaches us that peace is not found in the absence of hardship, but in the presence of inner strength. Zeno on his painted porch to Marcus Aurelius in his tent on the battlefield, from Seneca in his final moments to modern seekers of wisdom, the lesson is the same. Control what you can, accept what you cannot, and live with virtue. In a world that often feels like it is out of control, there is no greater freedom than the calm that comes from within. That is the Stoic mindset. That is how one stays calm in chaos.